Hello friend, myself Prakash Sardi. Today we are going to learn 7th standard subject history. We are going to learn revision. We want to start the revision of first lesson, sources of history. We learned already in 6th standard the ancient history last year. And in this year, we are going to learn medieval period of history. And this period started the 9th century to the end of the 18th century. And in this lesson, we are going to the all medieval period. Means in the first lessons, we want to start the sources of history. What is history? History gives us chronological, scientific and systematic account of past is called history. Means we want to learn history chronological. Chronological means what is the period? How that 7th century, 8th century, 9th century and modern era we are going to. Scientific. Behind the history, whatever event, incident is there, so it is scientific. And third one is the systematic. In that proper method we want to use the systematic. That is calling to the history. These are the past and which we want in the past. So now today we want to start the sources of history. In the history there are four factors from the viewpoint of history is the very important. They are very important, the four factors viewpoint of the history, very important. And which are that? So they are first individuals, second society, third place, and fourth time. These four factors are very important through point of the history. Individuals, which is the personally, society, place and time. And now these sources or these are the factors out us to the history. History must be based on authentic evidence or proofs. And see, history is the must on base of there is the authentic, there is the inauthentic, and that evidence, and we want to prove how, and that is called into the proofs. And these proofs are known as the sources of history. And these are the proofs showing that, and we are calling to the sources of history. Now, there are three kinds of sources. First, material sources, second, written sources, and third, oral sources. In material sources, there are the measure point of there is the force. There are in that material sources and then there is the force. Force are there are the also four kinds of the force. Hill force, sea force, forest force, and force of plane. Force of the plane. Force of the plane. That is we are calling to the four major force. Sindhudurga, Murud Janjira. These are the examples of the sea force. Daulatabad, near the Aurangabad, it is the hill force. And many among that, the another one is the forest. That we are calling to the forest force. Dear students, these are the material sources. In the material sources, many things included like monuments, virgala, samadhis, caves, sculpture, coins, all these are the including in that the including in the monuments, and these are the also we are calling to the material sources. Material sources, all these coins, they are the showing their period, evidence, economical condition in that periods. All these are the showing about there is the conditions in that period. What that? For example, coins. In that coins, which period is the showing? Sometimes there is the in that medieval history. Medieval history, some king, emperor, they are the deity, means god of the images writing, and that coins, one side is written, there is the information about that king or emperor, and second side is the given the period which time that coins is the given. Now we want to start the second one about there is the written sources. Written sources means these are the form in written form. These are the all the sources find in the written form. Written sources there. Now we want to learn the examples of written sources. Material sources. Material sources, there are many are examples I told. Again see memorials, forts, copper plate, cave sculpture, buildings and inscription coins. These are the examples of the material sources. Now the written sources. I told written sources, these are the written sources about there is the in which form in written. In that times there are the about many languages in different languages using like, and that they are the available in script. Sometimes there are the different script, like there is the some languages using there is the Arabic, Devanagari, Persians, and in that there is the script of the given there is the Modi, not Modi, that Modi it is we are calling today we are calling to the Modi script, that Lipi, Modi, Lip, there are Arabian near that, and all these are the forms available in medieval periods. When the foreign peoples coming in the another country or another our country is going to the visited the foreigner, they are also writing in the travel log. These are the these are the examples of the written sources. Genealogies, second, Shakauli, third, treatise, biography, chronicles, Tariq or Tawarikh, that is the incident of that is the all these are the, again there is the treatise, judiciary that documents of the proceedings in the king's court. All these are the examples find in there is the written sources. Now next one we want to learn the oral sources. Oral sources, actually oral sources means is the one generation to the, what is the oral sources? So oral sources that one generation to the next generation telling the stories, mean that it is not found in the any written forms, that we are calling to the thousands of years. It is the grandfather told to the father to the son, like that is the spread to the one generation to the next generation, is we are calling to the oral sources. Now oral sources, there are the many examples available today also in medieval histories also, like there is the Ovi. Ovis, in our Maharashtra, Bainabai Chaudhary Ovi is the very famous in Maharashtra, that Ovis. Second one, there is second, the Povada. Anna Bhau Sate, that those are the singing this Miss Povadas that we are calling to the Shahir. Anna Bhau Sate is the greatest one in the Maharashtra, that Povada about that. And first one that he composed the Povada on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's life, that is called to the Povada. Again there is the Ovis Povada, there is the folk tale. Third one is the folk story, folk tale, myth, legends. These are the examples of the oral source. Told the various aspects of folk life through one generation to the next generation. We understand about the folk literature, whatever the one generation to next. Gatha, these are the examples of folk literature, or we can say oral sources. Shlokas, Abhangas, Povadas, legends, myth. Abhangas very famous that composed by Sant Tukaram. Shlokas composed to the Ramdas Swami, Sant Ramdas Swami. Gatha, Sant Tukaram, Sant Eknath. All these are the composed by, and these are the very famous in medieval history. And that time, all these are the sant using the language of Marathi, Sanskrit, like Sant Jnaneshwar using the Marathi Sanskrit, and they are the preaching the knowledge, they are the removing the dark of with the those are the people in that all they are believing trust in the blind faith. Sant Tukaram says that जे का रंजले गांजले त्यास म्हणावी आपुले तेथीच ओळखावा साधू तेथीच जाणावा देव. They are the means they are the criticize. Those are the people's belief trust on the blind faith. They remove that. Material sources, written sources, oral sources. We learn in these lessons that in short that in revisions that all they are the criticize and that is the all these are the events proof and that is authentic. They prove about the sources of history. So dear student, we learn the three sources of history. Under the three sources we learn there is the some examples of material sources, written sources, oral sources. So thank you very much.